Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes. It would be interesting for us to have a little bit of a conversation about why it is that within the insurance industry, and I'm not saying the insurance industry is alone in this, but why is it that we have such a hard time putting the right level of emphasis and investment on data when it's what runs our entire industry?
Very great point, Miguel, in terms of why are organizations not investing in true data strategy and really getting their data house in order and to take advantage of data. As we all know, over the last few years, data has exponentially grew. 90% of the world's data, according to your post, right, that's out there, has generated over the last few years. And being able to leverage that data for that strategic advantage is not something that a lot of organizations are taking advantage of. And the reason is when you try to build a data warehouse, when you try to aggregate all of your data, there's a lot of data that is at your organization that you don't understand what is out there. You have a department, for instance, let's go back to our policies and claims. You have a department that's managing all of the policies. You have a department that's managing all of the claims. And then you have a department that's managing all of your marketing materials. It's fragmented, right? And then now trying to get all of those people into a room, spending time and energy to say, hey, how can I relate my data from claims to policies to billing to finance, put it all in one place so that I can get accurate reporting? It's a lot of time that we're spending getting these people together. And sometimes they don't see the value because they're talking about the process and not about the outcomes. So really driving at the outcome, again, if you can start small and say, look at the value of this report, one report that is helping drive decisions for your policies, to generate that buzz, for them to see the true ROI on it, then work backwards, right? Then to say, this is what you can achieve by getting here. So sometimes they're looking more at, oh man, this process is very long. This process is very tedious. I'm not getting value out of these meetings. You need to get into these meetings and drive it from the outcome. What are you trying to achieve? And really go back to the business strategy. How is the data strategy informing your business strategy? What data points are you trying to use to drive your business strategy? Why are you using data? What is your competitor doing with data? How can you use advanced analytics to your advantage? Meaning predictive and prescriptive abilities.
Danny, along those lines, I want to throw something at you because what Dee was just talking about was fascinating, starting with that outcome. And one of the hypotheses that I have that I'd love for you to validate is in your experience, do you believe that executive teams really think about data outcomes specifically? Do they think about the art of the possible in terms of what could we do from a product and services perspective? What could we do in terms of achieving competitive advantage using data as a tool, as an asset? Do you feel like that conversation is being had at a sufficient level in the boardroom?
I don't think so, Miguel. I think it happens in pockets, and this is related to two concepts here that I want to bring together. One, I actually think any technology initiative should be rooted in one simple question for all executives, which is, what are the business questions you're trying to answer? And that could be at the organizational level. It could also be at the department level. An organization has metrics around their people, their customers, their sales, and frankly, their profitability. And so for each of those areas, they have questions they want to answer. How is my customer satisfaction score? How is my EBITDA? What is it today? What does the next year look like? Those are the questions they ask. And oftentimes the answers to those tie to cumbersome processes, whether it be manual or crunching in spreadsheets, et cetera. And so when you look at those questions, the next question is, okay, how are we going to get there? And so that's part one. I don't think we really focus on what are the business questions you're trying to answer. Secondly, when you say, well, why doesn't it get into an executive boardroom? It comes down to, frankly, ownership.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.